Round 3, the last 16 of the 2021 Ladbrokes Players' Championship Finals. It is Stage 2 action we've got for you this evening here at Red's Bar at Butlins Minehead Resort. Very much the home of World Darts. At least it was, but a return to Butlins after a year and a half away. And we've got a cracking lineup for you. Yeah, I know there's some main stage stuff live on terrestrial telly. I know, whatever. Don't care, pal. We've got Ryan Searle, heavy metal, the number 5 seed against the European champion Rob Cross. A rejuvenated Rob Cross against one of the most exciting players on the PDC circuit this year. We've got Daryl Gurney, the only guy to win this title other than Michael van Gerwen in the last half a decade. He takes on James Wade, who is looking to add this title to his enormous collection, the reigning UK Open champion. It's one he's not won before. The top seed, José de Sousa, the Portuguese man of scores, takes on Willie O'Connor, a man who really has upset the odds. He's had a lot of stuff thrown at him as Willie O'Connor in his first couple of games, but he's looking to repeat his run to the quarterfinals here a couple of years ago. And Vincent van der Voort, a bit of a surprise package, but Vincent van der Voort, as we said many times this weekend, he's always in the last 16 of stuff. He's in the last 16 of this. And he takes on Danny Noppert, who's vanquished Dimitri Vandenberg, the Belgian number 1, this afternoon. Ryan Searle has got us off and running. I'm Dan Dawson. Paul Nicholson has won this title. Not many folks have, but he has. And he's alongside me for this opening game of the night.
Fascinating game, this. And we will get on to the fact that they graduated the challenge to an order of merit together.
120.
But the glaring statistic before this one begins, which is now best of 19, remember. None of that piddly best of 11 anymore. It's now down to the nuts and bolts 96 of Major Championship darts, where it's first to 10. Ryan Searle has never beaten Rob Cross. And I think that says something.
41.
In a game where he comes into this and he hasn't played well to get to the last 16.
Yeah, he hasn't played well, and he's been rather lucky. Survived 2 match starts against Simon Whitlock in his opening game. Survived 4 match starts this afternoon
90.
against Ryan Joyce. And in both of those matches, he only averaged mid-80s. That's not the Ryan Searle we know. But it is interesting, that stat about never beating Rob Cross, because it's not just when they were playing on the Challenge Tour and just coming up together. They have played here at the UK Open, in fact, in Minehead back in 2017. Rob winning that by 10 legs to 5. But they played last month in a Pro Tour
55.
final. And Cross won it by 8 legs to 6. Close game.
This is a better start from Ryan Searle, I have to say, because in the game we saw from him earlier, it was a glacial start. That is a great shot from Rob Cross. Maybe the bed was a little bit more open than we saw. It was still a great shot. But Searle, to protect his first leg on the throw, needs 20 in ball. Got to get the 20 first to have a
45.
chance. Silly Ryan.
Rob, you require 16.
So 16 needed.
Game shown the first
Well,
leg.
he does pin that double 4, but Rob Cross has
Second leg,
missed
Rob to
3
throw
darts at
first.
double in this
Game
match.
on.
He only missed 1 this afternoon in his victory over Nathan Aspinall. But so far this weekend, it has been a consistent sort of 96, 97 average from voltage. That's kind of... You kind of think he's going to do that, at least every time he gets on the stage. Because that
81.
European Championship has just completely transformed him.
I think what we are seeing from Rob Cross in this tournament so far is stellar.
16.
But at the same time, as impressive as it is, there are gears that maybe will be found tonight. He is someone who has always done well in playing multiple matches in a day. In majors, you look at a run to the final of the UK Open here. His best run at Minehead, where he ultimately just ran out of juice. But he looks full of energy. And when I've seen him this weekend, he looks full of focus.
Well, he looks like he's enjoying
55.
himself.
Rob, you require
And
121.
It's not something you can fake, is it? 60 for 36. There we go, double 18.
85.
No dramas. Searle is going to have to hit the jets if he wants to stay with Cross. The last thing you want to do against a confident Rob Cross right now is allow him a start.
You require 36.
And you don't want to leave him on 36 either.
Rob Cross.
We haven't had
throw first.
a real dominant performance on this board today. But Ryan Searle has got to get a hold of Rob in the first 5 legs for me. Otherwise, he's going to be looking at a very large deficit. There will be a break in this game after 10 legs, because we are now at that longer stage.
81.
It's not like the old Lakeside games where they'd play 4 or 5 sets without a break. I don't know how they did that, you know.
Well, that's the first 180 for Ryan Searle. We did see him go through a little patch towards the end of his game with Ryan Joyce. We started to play better. He never hit top gear, but he was getting better as Ryan Joyce faded pretty badly, to be honest. In a longer format game, you would think Ryan Searle is going to get to the levels we normally see. Treble 7? Yeah, that's the route he was looking at.
27.
This is much more like it. 5 treble 20s in a row for Ryan Searle. And all of a sudden, Rob Cross realises that heavy metal has finally turned up here in Minehead.
Ryan, you require 54. $34.
Just a little bit of a wobble.
Today.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because if you'd have said to me, currently, who's the best double top shooter in the world, I would have said Ryan Searle.
He's certainly right up there. Didn't hit it once against Ryan Joyce this
Ryan
afternoon.
require 20.
Double 5.
10.
Uh-oh. This could be a real slippery slope. And there'll be a reaction from Cross if he can find this.
He won't go bull first start this time, I think. No, he'll go skinny one. Oh, Bobby was the response to that.
81. Ryan, you require 10. Game
That's
shot,
better.
the third
He's got
leg.
away with that one, and he now has a foundation in the game.
Full leg Rob to throw first. Game on.
Amazing how many dart players are out there, you know, Dan, who go by, say, a Rob Cross or Dave Chisnell, but people refer to them as different things. So it's David, really, with Chisnell, and it's Bobby with Cross. I mean, nobody calls Michael Van Gerwen Michael.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody calls him Mike.
Start calling him Mickey. See if he likes it.
He'll hate it.
He will hate that, yeah.
I'm not going to do that to Mike because he'd stare a hole through me.
Now then, Ryan Searle. He's getting in range on the front. He needs to find that range on the top because Rob Cross in recent weeks. You reckon he's going to hit a certain level? It's going to be mid-high 90s, maybe even above. He's really got stuff for Grand Slam. Ryan Joyce was probably the best I've seen from him in a long while. He was great, better than anything through the championship. So Ryan Searle's going to have to, he's going to need to go to that double top. He's going to need to hit it first start on more than one occasion if he's going to win this game. Can't be opening legs, give it 4 or 5 starts. It's not going to work like that against Rob Cross.
How impressed were you with Ross Europeans from a standards perspective?
I was impressed that he won it. I was impressed that he won it on plenty well. I don't think they played particularly well, if I'm honest.
We said that about what you wins hard.
Well, our European Championship, we're not brilliant. So there was a double top finally for the first time today. Ryan Searle hits his favourite double. And that might well be a significant, maybe the significant moment today. It could be the significant moment this weekend. Come tomorrow night if Ryan Searle is in the mix for the title.
Maybe now we can let the Robbridge down on double top shooting, because that really was a beauty. It was right in the middle. We've seen a few doubles today. One especially for Darren against Mike Smith was right in the corner on double eight. It was a key shot. So all one just hit him in any portion of the double. Sometimes it feels nicer to get it right in the middle. It gives you confidence about the next time. There will be a next time on tops.
Yeah, usually that next time is not far away.
100.
The good sign here that Ryan Searle, even though he's perhaps not pinning as many of those treble 20s as he'd like, he's looking a bit straighter than he was this afternoon. We're not seeing them drift into the 5s and the 1s. Rob Cross with a 177. Oh yeah, the 5s and the 1s.
85. Rob, you
Not the end of the world, that
84.
visit. But I think there's going to be plenty of breaks of throw in this match by what we've seen so far. Double 18.
Game shot.
Splendid stuff. Looking ruthless, looking semi-patient as well. He will pick his spots, and when he's given shots like that, he is one of the best in the world. Of that, there is no doubt. But I've got to address this thing down Ross, because 2017, tremendous. 2018, which you get off. I know you won in 2018 in Brisbane and the more ones, but it was nowhere near as good as 2017. 2019, two majors. 2020, year off. Each one year off. It's just a pattern to it. If you can get 2 years together with form, he could be world number 1.
There is no denying Rob Cross. He's a special player. In fact, he turned up and did what he did in a very short space of time. But take Ryan Searle. It's been the opposite. They came together through the challenge for a very same means of qualification for the professional circuit. Well, Rob Cross was world champion, winning things straight away, beating literally everyone in the top 20 in his first year. Ryan Searle was just trying to find his feet, just trying to learn how to win games. Hang about. Oh, baby, 1-4-4 in a very Rob Cross route, actually.
Play this one over the top. Find a double. These guys got much better at this year. Not on this occasion. Still back. One of Rob's favourites for another break. That's what you get. Good contact on this one.
Yeah, I as well. Rob Cross averaging round about 101. Ryan Searle up in the high 90s, despite having missed 6 or 7 darts at double already in this game. Yeah, now we're talking.
123.
But as I was saying, these guys came up at the same time from the Challenge Tour, and everything happened for Rob Cross immediately. It could not have been better. It's the greatest debut year in PDC darts we have ever seen, culminating in him winning the World Championship. And as you say, within a year and a half, he'd added the match play. A little bit after that, the European Championship, a World Series event in there as well. Ryan Searle, there were spells where Ryan Searle went almost 6 months without winning a game on the tour. Ryan Searle was in danger of losing his tour card. It was really hard. He questioned whether he was good enough to be doing this, Ryan Searle. And look where he is now. He is one of. He's ranked higher than Rob Cross in this tournament because he's been better over the course of the year. He is consistently chucking averages bigger than Rob Cross on the tour this year. Now, granted, it's only the latter end of the year Rob Cross has really come into form.
Ryan require 98.
But Ryan believes he belongs at the top table and that he can join Rob Cross and do things.
66.
That's half the battle, you know.
Rob, you
When you
require
come into the PDC with all these glittering egos and players around you. Hang on a minute. Oh, how good were they? How good were they? How good will this be? Oh, he made it shake.
45.
He knew it was close.
Ryan require 32.
No hesitation. You don't see him down there that much. He is successful for a lead in this match.
Well, this is interesting. It is this sort of examination that Rob Cross was given by Ryan Joyce in the first knockout round of the Grand Slam. Over the same format, of course, remember. And Cross just did not relent. He carried on at the same level, and Ryan Joyce faded. He couldn't sustain it. And Rob Cross ran out a relatively easy winner in that game in the end.
16.
I don't think Ryan Searle is going to relent. If anything, Ryan Searle might get better as he grows into this game. Because this, do not underestimate, this will be the best that Ryan Searle has felt all weekend. It was a struggle against Ryan Joyce this afternoon, a struggle against Simon Whitlock yesterday on the main stage. But here he's averaging a ton. He'll be looking and feeling good. And it won't matter to Ryan Joyce what Rob Cross is throwing at him, because he knows he's got the firepower to deal with it.
119. Rob, you require 161.
Nice cushion here in leg number 8. 107 left. Now you see him trying to stay away from the 51. It's not part of his game plan. He likes to concentrate on 3 big trebles and 3 big trebles only, if that can be done. Well, here you would fancy it's going to be the 60 for double 4. Well, now he's got to go 17s, and he's pretty good at it. How ironic.
52.
Well, it's a 1-4-4 again, Dan. Got close the last time.
Same route. It was, but he couldn't quite pin it.
58. Robbie requires 16. Game shot.
Ooh, it's in the Darryl Gurney cover there. Right next to the double 11, but it's good. And it's 4-4.
Well, I'm sure neither of these guys right now are thinking, I'll take 5 all at the break after 10 legs. They're thinking, win these next 2, get in 6-4. But from where I'm sitting, 5 all at the break looks a very good scoreline.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I've played in these formats before where you get the break after 10 legs. You do break it down. You do say, where do I want to be from here? And both of them will fancy 6-4. There are times where you think, I'll take 5-5. But these guys don't want that. 6-4 down is a disaster.
Well, there have been little chances here and there, but Ryan Searle has had more darts at double than Rob Cross. Neither of them even hitting the 40% mark. So if they do get in at 5 all, they'll be thinking, I should be ahead. They'll both be thinking that. I mean, it is ridiculous that they're both thinking that, but they will be, because players are naturally geared. They, pessimistic players don't win many games of sport. They believe in their own abilities, by and large. Forget about maybe Alan Tabben, who's an anomaly. Cross has already had a look at this 161, and it's down for the 19s. And it's the bullseye he wants now.
He didn't know if that was in. He had to check. He's out of rhythm, even for him. Ooh, a stinger from Rob Cross. It was in all right, and so was the next one.
Old Rob Cross is back. They're the shots that were going. They're the ones he was picking out at Ali Pali when he became world champion. He talked about his performances, not about something that he was doing. He wasn't, he didn't make this happen. All he did was create the conditions for these performances to come out of him. He prepared right. He had the confidence. He had that winning feeling. So all the stuff he's been putting in recent weeks. And when all of that comes together, then you get these performances come out. Then those big shots happen at key moments.
Do you remember him hitting that 161 against Van Geuren in the semi? And the celebration that came with it?
Yes.
That was a moment.
Don't think MVG enjoyed that one very much. And he has got a real opportunity to go in at 6-4 up, and it could prove to be a crucial difference in what has been a very tight game so far.
Needs to fill it up. Comes up short.
Oh, but what if he hit him with a 161 of his own in the very next
Oh,
leg?
yeah.
Come on.
Rob could leave double 8. Still not bad. I think he needs it.
Needs it? Does not get it.
102.
But a nice use of the bullseye anyway to leave him on a 2-darter. If there is a mistake, is it going to be 20 for a double 18? It is. He's got the weight of darts. Same weight, change the line. Didn't quite change the line enough. And he changed the line sufficiently to the other side.
38.
Too safe.
Ryan, you require 59.
It was a go for broke shot. And Searle goes for tops and gets it done, and it is 5-5. We have got the result that we craved to give us potentially a brilliant second half of this game. Searle cross 5-5 in a race to 10. We will see the climax when we come back after this short break.
Well, it is 5-5 between the number 5 seed Ryan Searle and the European champion Rob Cross. I don't care what's going on the main stage, neither should you. Because if you're watching whatever rammel is being served up there, you have made the wrong choice. This is an absolutely spellbinding encounter where Ryan Searle has suddenly found the form that has made him one of the emerging stars in the world of darts over the last year and a half. And Rob Cross is just doing what Rob Cross has been doing for the last couple of months, ever since he claimed the European Championship for the second time in his career. Searle is finding the trebles, and more importantly, he's finding double top. That one just before the break to level at 5-all was just below the top wire. Bang centre. It is exactly where Ryan Searle wants it.
He's making that treble 20 look massive right now. And with those heavy barrels, I've got a funny feeling he's knocked that bottom wire. It's looking pretty big.
Well, it is a curious one. He has got, obviously, quite famously, the heaviest darts in the sport. Certainly in the professional ranks. And they are big, chunky barrels. But with the long point that he's got, it doesn't necessarily take up a lot of room in that bed. And he sort of, with the way he uses darts, it's kind of the best of both worlds. Where he's got a big area to bounce off, he creates a big backboard, but doesn't take up a lot of room in the bed. Single 7 for double top. Oh, and it's not quite on the end of his arm, but he has already assured himself of at least 3 more goes to win the leg.
I don't know how you feel about this, Dan, but this camera angle that we have of the players from the side, it really does illustrate the walkers on dart 3. And Ryan Searle is the chairman of it. Doesn't need dart 3 there, just needs 1. But watch out for it. He does lean over a lot when he throws that 3rd dart. And if he does have a wild one, it's usually on the 3rd shot. This section of the draw sees Searle or Cross up against either Gurney or Wade, which is our next match in the quarters. So we're going to get a really good indication of what will be one of the matches tomorrow. It's not like some other tournaments where you see a draw after this stage. This is a structured event based on where you finish in the Players' Championship order of merit.
44.
And so on and so on. Yeah, I'm fascinated by that next game between Gurney and Wade. And in a similar fashion, Gurney has got himself through to the last 16 without playing his optimum stuff. But now is the time to find it.
96.
And Searle is showing him how. Oh, he's hitting it, isn't he? Is it going to be 7-5 Searle?
Well, we said at the start of this that Ryan Searle has never beaten Rob Cross. If this was a Pro Tour game, he'd have already won 6-5.
Ryan require 81.
And he's got a couple of visits here. Yeah, I like that route. 62,
41.
treble 18 for double 4 right next to each other. If you don't hit the treble, it's single 4 right next to it to leave his favourite double top. It's a very Gary Anderson route for that 62.
Oh, it reeks of Gary.
His practice partner nowadays. Cross just gives him a little reminder.
30.
Now, Rob Cross, what do you do? Do you want 3 or do you want 2 at a different double? He's going to split it. You made the choice and you executed it. Given the chance and taking the chance. Full credit to Voltage for that.
137.
Well, a 17 darter surviving 3 darts for a 7-5 deficit, Rob Cross. How important will that little passage of play be?
60.
What's the best game you've ever seen Rob Cross play? You've been there since the very start of his career.
100.
I mean, there were, I don't know, it might be, there were lots of games in his first months on the pro circuit where he was spellbinding.
I know it's easy for me to say this, Dan, but that World Championship final.
I mean,
he
that,
averaged
yeah.
107.
I mean, it was almost like he just went into some sort of trance in that game. I mean, the narrative, everything about it was just so perfectly set up. And then Rob Cross just refused to even contemplate letting the greatest player in history get close to him.
Another one of those. Ooh. Is that the same route that Cross is going to go? I don't think so, because he
54 first?
54 first, 60 bolt.
Oh, he's looking down.
I'm quite surprised by that. Most of the time he does go 54 first on 164.
Line requires 72.
Staying there.
Yes.
Double top.
32.
I mean, that was so, it was so obviously 16. He had no idea where it landed, did he?
Where's this going to be? Oh, he didn't want the small one.
He's done that 3 or 4 times, hasn't he?
That happens when he lets the dark go
Line
late.
require 40.
This time, it's double 5.
Game shot on the 13th leg.
He's not one for celebrating heavy metal, but when he does,
first, game on.
it's just the left fist pump. Just going into that Rob Cross thing for the final when he won the Ali Pali event.
180.
It was a case of not wilting at all.
140.
And a lot of players in the past, like Peter Wright in Phil's last match play, paid him too much respect. There was no respect from Rob Cross. He essentially packed Phil Taylor's retirement case and said, off you go, pal. That's how ruthless it was.
100.
Well, that was the Rob Cross story. That was at the end of his first year. There was only one player in the top 20 in the world that Rob Cross hadn't beaten. It was the one that he hadn't yet played, and it was Phil Taylor. He meets him in Phil's last ever game in a World Championship final and smashes him off the board. If you wrote that as a Hollywood script, people would think it's a bit
require 82.
contrived, isn't it?
We saw it, we were there. Treble 13 is found for double 16. To level things up once again.
50.
With that miss, Searle gets an outside shot at the 8-6.
38.
Stay there. Yeah, quite.
Gives it the full Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
122. Robbie require 32.
Searle does not expect to get a shot.
Game shot,
Oh, that's
the
a nice
14th
assist.
leg.
I'm not sure that was a pure dart, but it was good
15th
enough.
leg, Ryan through first.
Well, 7-7. We have not seen a 2-leg gap
81.
in this match at all, apart from when Rob Cross went 2-0 up at the very start of it. And that was very quickly pulled back to 2-all.
Gotta be. He could have got another 9 in there.
Well, it was 180s, 4 legs on the spin for Rob Cross.
Heavy stuff from both players. It's impossible not to enjoy this game. I could watch these two go at it all night long.
100.
He'd be devastated with a ton there, and he shows it.
That, while it is only a small mistake, might be a mistake which loses him the leg. And that could be a big factor in losing the match. Because Rob Cross leaves the 84 that he's already taken out in this game. Does he go tops? Oh, he did. I think it was the right shot as well.
84.
Are the misses at tops the difference between winning this game and losing it? Because we're talking about fine margins. 18 leaves the bull to break the Searle throw.
59.
If we didn't see that point, it was in. Is this in? Wow! How does that not go in tops?
Rob, you require
I
25.
don't know. With those enormous barrels, I think even Ryan just assumed he'd hear the call when he let go of that dart.
That's not ideal. That's why he had to gamble. I don't blame him for going for the top bin there. It was the only bit he could see.
Ryan, you require 40.
Ryan Searle can't see anything. Apart from an 8-7 lead.
Ryan Searle. 16th leg, Rob.
Well, there we go. He has been the first to 6 legs, the first to 7 legs, the first to 8 legs, Ryan Searle. In whatever form, whatever stage of a Players' Championship match, he would have beaten Rob Cross. Which is something he's never done, remember. Can he be the first to 10?
134.
I would have beaten most players if it was first to 1.
Quick starter.
I made a catastrophic error once against Phil Taylor in the Grand Slam.
38.
I won the bull and gave it him the start. I thought if I get a break early, I'll be all right. I was on double 16 after 12, missed them all. He didn't.
131.
Silly me. But this is best of 19. And this is a distance that Rob Cross is more versed in than Ryan Searle is. He's only just getting used to these kinds of formats, which are longer than the Players' Championship events on the floor.
It's funny you should mention giving the bull away against Phil Taylor, because Rob Cross, he'd obviously had a day off leading up to the World Championship final where he played Phil. And he'd convinced himself, you know what, I'm going to give the bull away. That'll be a statement to make against him. Sean scared of him. And then he lost the ball to Phil. Phil asked him, would you have given it away? He went, no, of course I wouldn't, no. Absolutely bottled it. Tops. It would have been 9-7, but he's probably going to come back.
It's got to be 57 first. That scuppers that, and Cross is now in bother.
57. Ryan require 40.
Ooh, it's a good assist this time. In off the post, and it's 9-7 Searle. He has fought valiantly in this game. He's been in trouble early, but he has been the more accurate player over the last 5 or 6 legs.
137.
Well, I think he probably deserved that deflection, bearing in mind what happened in the previous leg.
100.
Damon Hetter's winning against Peter Wright. It's 5 legs to 3 now to the Australian.
Well, not an insurmountable obstacle for Peter Wright. He was 3-0 down to Adrian Lewis, wasn't he, before he, or 3-1. We turned that around over on the main stage, and words are exchanged. I don't anticipate any words being exchanged between the Heat and Snakebite. There might be a handshake coming in this one in the next few moments, though, because Ryan Searle has left himself potentially 3 darts away from his first ever quarter-final at the Players' Championship Finals.
81.
Their averages are almost identical.
167.
But the key exchanges have been won by Ryan Searle up to this point.
40.
Is that an invitation, though, for Cross? This is the kind of position that MVG found himself in against Gary Anderson in the European final once. It was at this point that Michael went nuts.
100. Ryan
First,
127.
Rob Cross needs Searle to miss this.
Bullseye. He does miss. It is a match dart miss. We've seen a number of players miss match darts and then go out of the tournament on this board today. Ryan Joyce was one of them against Ryan Searle. Rob Cross needs a double or a treble, and he does not get it.
25.
And Ryan Searle gets another chance. The quarterfinal is within touching distance.
Double two.
23.
It's now 3 missed darts for the match. 1 at the bull and 2 at the outer ring. Does that plant the seed of doubt? Because Cross first has to deny him a shot at the madhouse. What a guide.
40.
Couldn't use it.
Ryan, you require 2.
To get it done on double one. Oh my, he's dragged it into the 18s.
Rob, you require 20.
Double 10. Should be a good guide, that now. Doesn't matter. You can feel the tension here at Red's bar.
15.
He keeps looking over his left shoulder for inspiration, but nothing is coming his way.
This has been brilliant all the way through, but even the best can get nervy, and it's very nervy right now. Surely. There it is! Heavy metal Ryan Searle. He has enjoyed more than his fair share of fortune in the first couple of rounds, but that was down to excellence. An absolute cracker to dump out the European champion, to beat Rob Cross for the first time in his career. And for the very first time, Ryan Searle is through to the quarterfinals at the Players' Championship finals here in Minehead. We're going to find out whom he faces in just a few moments as a former winner, Daryl Gurney, takes on the UK Open champ, James Wade.